Hello coaches, thanks for joining us for another episode of the MSc Breakdown. Today we're going to talk about scanning, something that's talked a lot about today, especially youth development. We're going to discuss what it is, why it's important, and most importantly, how to train it, how to transfer all this information onto the training pitch and make an impact with players. Before we start, please give it a like and a subscribe so you don't miss any of the upcoming information and videos and sessions. This is part of our new Modern Soccer Coach Scanning ebook that we've just released. 20 scanning exercises, all based around improving vision, decision making within the context of the game. It's available on the link below, modernsoccercoach.com/shop. When you order it, you get it right away. It's an ebook, you get it right away, and it's got 20 videos alongside the ebook. So if you're looking at it, you can just pull up the video and see the structure and the organization, the flow of the session. Very, very simple. Please check it out, modernsoccercoach.com/shop on the link below. Okay, scanning, what it is and how to improve it. Let's go. All right, what is scanning? So basically, it's a head movement where a player is looking away from the ball in preparation for another action within the game. Why is that important? Well, it gives you information about your opposition, it gives you an understanding about space, and it's scientifically proven to give you more options when you have the ball. So scanning is beneficial not just for individuals but also for teams as well. So on that research side, last year we spoke to Karl Marius Aksum on visual perception in elite football. He knows quite a few things about it. He's got a PhD in visual perception in elite football. An unbelievable interview. It's on the link below if you missed it. But I'm going to pick 3 takeaways from that video that we can take and apply to our teams right away. So the first takeaway for me was this concept of fixations. And we talk about scanning and getting information. Sometimes we think a player can look around and wait for 5, 6, 7 seconds and get as much information as possible. Karl shares in his interview that 90% of scans happen in 0.6 seconds or less, which means that they're quick fixations, which means that whenever we're training this, we don't have to use props like he talks about different colors over here or numbers over there. It's just a quick look. So understanding more about that influences more about how we can design sessions around it.
9-year-olds can do it, 8-year-olds can do it, 10-year-olds can do it, 3 together. And then it has to be some sort of movement. You have to scan for some sort of movement. So one of the most interesting findings I have found is that in a scan, you don't have fixations. So only 2% of all scans include fixations, which means, in practice, this means that when you scan, you're not seeing details. You're not able to read the logo on the chest of the player. So what you're seeing is movement. You see the colors. So you're able to see if it's your teammate or his opponent. You're able to see the direction he's running. But a scan is so quick. 90% of scans is 66 centiseconds or less, so 0.6 seconds or less, 90% of all scans. So it's very, very quick. And so you can only see movements, colors, space. So we need to teach. So we can't hold these fingers up, which I did very much a couple of years ago. We can't do that. We can't use numbers. Well, okay, here's a 2, here's a 3, holding them up, asking them to fixate on this. That's not how you scan in a match. So you don't have the time to look at details.
The next takeaway from me was Karl's insight on context and again specifics when we're learning more about scanning. Different positions, as he's going to talk about in this quick clip, may scan in different ways, in different directions. So the more specific you can be with your training, the better chance you have of improving it. Here are some ways to do it, and here are Karl's guidelines to implement it.
Then some guidelines for me. It's number 1, it needs to be position specific. So we've talked about it, but a central midfielder has this information 360 degrees in every direction. He needs to scan a lot and he needs to scan in every direction. So it's a completely different reality, for example, for a dribbling right winger whose job is to stay on the touchline and just deliver crosses or combine and deliver crosses. who only needs to scan maybe 180 degrees inwards. So it needs to be position specific. You can't have this decontextualized scanning exercise who works for many positions. Number two, it needs to have some decision making. So it's very important that decision making, when you're teaching scanning, is informed by the perception. So every scan should inform a decision. So for me, a football action is perceive, decide, execute. Perceive, decide, execute. And you need to have this link if you're actually wanting to coach visual perception in football. So number three, it needs to include the execution. We're talking about the decision making need to be there, and the execution also needs to be there. And it has to be a relevant execution. So one exercise where you're decontextualizing, but you're still doing the correct thing is very easy. You can be one coach, two players. One coach can pass you the ball. You're scanning to see if the player is to the left. Okay, then you turn to the right. Or if the player moves to the right, okay, then you turn to the left. And then you work on the timing. That's the easiest way you can do it. Or you can, okay, he's moving to the left. That means I have to position my body that way, receive with the furthest foot, play to that player. So that's the starting point. Okay, I don't like to decontextualize as much as that, but that's a way we can do it.
Okay, the next and final insight from Karl that I took away before we look at some exercises was this concept of rondos. Now, for a lot of coaches, when we're talking about decision making and game realism, we look at rondos as a starting point for implementing that. No problem at all. We've talked about this in a lot of podcasts, but what type of rondo you do is very, very important. So a 4v2 rondo where everyone's standing around may not be as beneficial as a different type of rondo. Again, understanding more about this here and how scanning can change in these contexts with research can also lead us to modifying our training, improving our exercises to get more reality out of the exercise, bring it closer to the game, and improve players. Here we go.
There's an unpublished work from the Netherlands who looked at different training exercises, and they measured how much scanning was in different training exercises. So nothing could compare with an actual game. So the highest scan frequency was found in the game. The second highest was found in a positional tactical exercise. And then so on. So the lowest of all was the 4v1 and 4v2 rondo. There were no scanning. There were no scanning in a 4v2, 4v1 rondo. So even an unopposed passing exercise where you pass from A to B had higher scanning rates than the rondo. So, and this is natural because when you play in this 4v2 rondo, okay, I've used it a lot. Every coach used it a lot, but you only need to use your peripheral vision. So you know where the player to the right is, you know where the player to the left is, you know where the player is in front of you. Nothing is changing. So I'm not saying get rid of the rondo. I'm saying that you should beware as a coach that every pass you make is in a rondo is different than what you would do in a match where you always would scan before you receive the ball and after you receive the ball. So coaches should know about it. They should reflect on it because it's different. So then if you're only doing these small rondos, then you're practicing more passing in a different way than you do in a match. Then you're actually practicing passes as you would do in a match.
Okay, brilliant insight from Karl again. You can check that out on the link below. Let's now look at some exercises again. If you really like these and you think, wow, I'd like some more of them, again, on the link below, ebook, Modern Soccer Coach Scanning, 20 exercises all around this concept of scanning on the training pitch, again, that can improve players and lead to greater understanding and decision making. Here we go. Alright, so this first one is a warm-up type activity, 5v2, 2-ball game, 7 players. Possession team starts with 2 balls in red, and the objective is to maintain possession in that area for 45 seconds with both balls. Use the 5v2 overload to score a point with both balls in control after 45 seconds. Players can move anywhere. If defending team in blue win the ball, they can score in any of the mini goals for 2 points. Play 3 45-second games and then change teams. 4 sets total. Right, this next game is a personal favourite of mine. 6v6 chaos game, 2 balls. Players organised into 4 teams of 5 players. Goalkeeper for each team. 2 6v6 games moving in different directions. In the example here, red team are competing against the yellow team on goal 1 and goal 2. And the blue team are competing against the black team on goal A and goal B. Players can move anywhere in the area. There's no restrictions. Play 6 3-minute games. Rotate the teams at all times. Plenty of practice at chaos. Plenty of practice in moving around and making those decisions. And then the last one is more of a tactical concept. 6v3 central build game. So it's a position-specific exercise. Possession team are organised into the positions. Centre back on one side, number 4. Centre forward, number 9. 2 and 3 full-backs. And then the central midfielders have a 2v3 disadvantage in the middle. So it's a positional rondo that they're looking at getting a point for every time they go from number 4 to number 9, using the 2 midfielders in the middle who are outnumbered, so they got to take good positions. They're probably going to face pressure. They got to make lots of decisions, and they've got to play very, very quickly. Really, really good game. If the blue team win the ball, they can score right away in any of the corner goals. So there you have it, some information on scanning from Karl. Check out that interview below, and then some ideas on the training pitch to implement some of these concepts and these guidelines from Karl in the interview. If you enjoy it, please give it a like and subscribe below. And of course, if you want more of the exercises, check out the ebook modernsoccercoach.com/shop. Thanks so much for the support. I will see you soon.